There he goes. All right. We are up and running. Come on, Em. Come on. There she is. Emma's back. She's back in the saddle again. I'm back. And there she is. She's a little photogenic thing, too. Look how pretty she is. Mm-hmm. You just want to hang out, don't you? That still isn't set up quite right either. I'll move it over to there. See if that does any better. I don't know what that's sitting on. Sitting on something. Oh, an eraser. Okay. Oh, hi. Yeah, Jack Powers. We're up. This is little Emma. Little photogenic Emma. Princess Emma. Say hi to everybody. Say hello. Little therapy dog here. She just likes to hang out. Oh, what do we got going on? We got anything much? I don't have much over here. Same old really. Just working every day, trying to keep things moving forward. You know, trying to keep things together isn't really all that hard. It's just small steps, being disciplined to the program, knowing what is what and who is who probably helps a good deal. So let me know how you guys are doing. We know what's up with y'all. I'm just kind of chilling here and hanging out my little pooch here. Worked a little bit earlier today. Did a little bit of repair stuff. That's about all. Thankfully, there's always something that somebody needs to have fixed on their house or garage or what have you. So I'm not like some skilled craftsman, but generally speaking, I can get things done. Mostly. So, what did you think about the Murdaugh verdict then? Was that a good verdict? Was that something that everybody expected or what? I mean, the guy was so obviously guilty, it was kind of pathetic. But yeah, it just shows the criminal justice system. It shows how privileged people in some areas get preferential treatment. If that had been just some regular Joe from Charlottesville or Columbia or wherever, he would have been SOL. He would have been just run through the process really quickly and convicted and probably given the death penalty, sent off. So the fact that he ducked the death penalty was at least, I mean, his lawyers could probably look at that and say, okay, that's a win for us. We ducked the death penalty. This is saying 6071. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because he definitely did it. There's no question. Hey, there's Henry. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Henry, it looked like it was pretty heinous. I mean, just, I guess, the gruesome nature of it. Of course, they do have the death penalty there, and if you kill more than one person, if it's, I don't know what all the qualifying factors are, but I know they have it, and they probably have a lot of them, and they probably have a lot of people on death row. What surprised me, too, was that they took him right to the prison. I guess they took him right there, like, immediately. So, yeah. I mean, they just loaded him right into the van. They probably had it all planned and ready in case he was convicted. They sentenced him really quickly. No pre-sentence report, no nothing. Well, I think the guy, we just finished a book about psychopaths and psychopathology. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of dynamics to it. To come to the point of doing something like that, yeah, there's no telling what caused him to go off, other than some twisted sense of logic or reasoning, I suppose. That's why you have to have good rules. You have to have, your own set of values that are based on the ones that are accepted throughout human history. Yeah, I think he's going to have to, Henry. I think he's going to have to hit protective custody. But yeah, you have to have these bedrock values where you say, no matter how bad it gets, I'm not going to do that. He was facing some time. They were going to give him some serious time anyway. He already knew that. He knew he'd get some serious time. And maybe being, they give a guy like that 30, 40 years, that's the rest of his life. So maybe he was thinking, this is the end anyway. And maybe in a twisted way, he thought he was doing the right thing. I don't know. But it was definitely the wrong thing. But yeah, you just got to be able to draw the line there someplace and say, nope, I'm not going to do that. The only way that any kind of, act of violence against another is qualified or allowed, in my estimation, is if it's self-defense. The problem with self-defense is that, unlike in prison, you sort of have to wait for that other person to make the first move. So it does put a person in a little bit of a disadvantage, rather than, like in prison, if you, I was telling my wife the other day that in prison, if you have some kind of a little beef somewhere with somebody over whatever, could be just cutting in line or something at the chow hall, you probably got to be on your P's and Q's. You might have to go take care of that right up front. Yeah, it does. put you behind the curve on that whole thing. But actual self-defense, yeah, I mean, when you're an ex-prisoner, you really don't have any means of defending yourself. Not really. I mean, push comes to shove, I'm going to do it. I'm going to defend my wife. I'm going to defend myself, our little puppy, our home, whatever. But you got to be really cautious and use some intelligence there, because you get into a situation where I just try to avoid confrontations of any kind at every turn. I'll let it go. It's just easier. It's more beneficial, easier on your mind too, on your brain. Just let things go. Don't take everything so personally. So what? 99 years from now, 99.9% of the human beings who now inhabit and populate the earth will no longer be here. So that includes me, it includes you, it includes everybody. So, life is too short to take chances where, things might not come out so well. But people are angry. People are very opinionated. I see that there's a lot of violence, a lot of different kinds of violence. I think when you take alcohol and drugs and you mix it with a little bit of boredom, like, not having much to do, and then you mix that with a criminal mentality or trying to get something or trying to impose your will over the will of someone else, it generally ends up being an accident scene, a car wreck or a train wreck. A couple of train wrecks in Ohio. How about those 4 people that were kidnapped in Mexico from North Carolina? They were in their little minivan, and they were just over the border. And I guess 2 gangs or cartels were shooting it out or having some kind of a beef. And they were right in the middle of it or something. But they got kidnapped. And, the other passengers, I guess, just got shot on the spot. So they had a couple of kids, man and wife and 2 kids, seeing a little bit of footage where they're being put in the back of a pickup. But you can't let them, you can't let somebody just take you. I don't care. You might have to be killed right there on the spot, but it's better than going somewhere to be tortured or to be held and tortured or to be, see your family die in front of you. Or you better put up a fight right then and there. Don't ever let someone just have a hard time. It looked like they were getting in that back of that pickup truck. But people just don't think about those things. I guess they went there to get some kind of medications that weren't available in the U.S. or, to get some kind of a deal on it or something. It must have been a good deal to drive all the way from North Carolina to get it. But there's all kinds of things going on. The Murdaugh case was just one of them. It was interesting, Murdaugh, because to me, for a number of reasons, it was interesting because it shows the way privileged individuals are treated by the criminal justice system as opposed to those who aren't. There's John Wolfe. Yeah, John, we got Blockheads 3. It's up on the membership. I think I'm gonna throw it up on the public here for a couple of days, just let you guys get a look at it. But the Blockheads is rolling right along and picking up steam a little bit. Good to have you on board, Johnny. But yeah, the Blockheads is just kind of a way to, like, I guess it's sort of a way just to tell these prison stories, or just not the stories themselves, but yeah, you have to fight. You have to fight. Somebody tries to put you in get you in a car. I don't care if they've got a gun right to your head. You better be quick. You better make some moves right then and there, because that's the best chance that you have of surviving, is to get it done right then and there. Get it done on the spot. No, hell no. I'm not going anywhere. But, of course, you have to at least give up a fight a little bit. Sparky 2. Yeah, I don't think felons should. Well, you can't even. You really can't have a BB gun. You can't. I couldn't have anything, even anywhere. Honestly, I don't want anything like that. I don't want a firearm myself. I don't even want. You're worse off with a replica, I think. I know a guy that got, just to digress a little bit, I remember the guy that got a life sentence because he went into this bank. He was from Canada, this Canadian dude. He went into the bank and he told the teller, to give him the money, and he patted his coat pocket and reached in there and told her he had a gun. And, he got charged with a gun whether he did or not have one, he never brandished it. So they ended up giving him a life sentence for the 924E. He had a couple other prior convictions. So yeah, he got banked on that. But back to the point at hand, yeah, you can't let them get you like that. And ex-cons should have their rights fully restored, because, generally speaking, why should you lose your rights? Why should you lose any of your rights? Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I grew up with firearms, hunting, fishing, trapping, all that stuff. Yeah, why should you lose your rights to own and possess a firearm when you've paid whatever that debt is, whatever that price is? You paid enough. If there's a Second Amendment right, if we have a Second Amendment right to possess a firearm, then yeah, exactly, John. It doesn't exclude people who are convicted of a crime. So I don't see how they get around that. They're going to say people who are convicted of a felony offense punishable by more than 1 year imprisonment cannot avail themselves of their Second Amendment right. So yeah, it's really messed up. But the law is always messed up, right? Yeah. When it's over, it should be over. You should be fully restored. And honestly, I really don't even think they should keep a record of it. Maybe I'm on shaky ground with that, but if you've paid your debt, isn't the record itself, people having access to that information, isn't that a type of a punishment in and of itself, or at least a consequence to the offense? I'm on board with you. I think just the same. You, you should have, definitely should have Second Amendment rights. Definitely should have clean slate. People that reoffend, I honestly don't believe that they should get more time. If if you go to prison, hey Greg, cool man, glad to see you, man. But yeah, if you go do your time and everything, I mean, why add on? How do they add on punishments after the fact? They're gonna hang you out to dry like that. But it's the way it's done. It's the way it's pretty much already been. Yeah, I see you. I see you, brother. I see you. So yeah, these things are at issue. All of these things are in play, particularly the way this Murdoch case evolved and everything that was exposed, because you could clearly see how certain people, I mean, this is like it is all over the country though, right? It's been my experience everywhere I've been. Yeah, Greg. Thank you, man. I respect you, brother. But yeah, I mean, it's been that way every place I've been. Is you always have the people that control the law, the lawyers, those people in that circle, they're the ones with the real power. I mean, is there any doubt about it? Is there any doubt that they abuse that power regularly? I think not. They definitely do. But what do you do about that? What do you do? I'll tell you what I do. I just try to avoid them. I haven't been pulled over for any kind of traffic violation. I don't even drive that much. I don't really, I definitely don't go to bars. That's one thing that I just had to kind of scratch off my list, because every time I went to a bar, well, not every time, but a lot of times when I've went to a bar, it's ended up with trouble. So yeah, I definitely don't do that. Just try to stay out of the way. I mean, I have the 3 don'ts that if you abide by the 3 don'ts, you never really have to worry about rubbing elbows. Sparky, you're funny, man. Yeah. I want to get a motorcycle, but there's no way I'm going to be able to. I grew up on motorcycles, so I'd really love to have one, but I don't think my wife's going to go for it. Plus, there's financially, I don't see a way to get there anyway. Not right now. Maybe in the future sometime, but I don't think she's going to go for that either. Maybe dirt bikes, off-road. Yeah, that's true, Henry. No, the rule of 3 for me is this: don't hurt anyone, don't take anything that doesn't belong to me, and don't deal drugs. If you do those or don't do those 3 things, then you're probably not going to have a serious problem with the law. And it's those people that get caught up in there, and they really haven't sorted things out for themselves, and you get caught up, and then all of a sudden that becomes your life. That becomes a web that you're caught up in, and you can't really extricate yourself. You can't get loose or break those bonds, that web. You can't get out of it. And They just keep pouring it on, pouring it on, pouring it on. And that's probably a better rule, right? Don't do stupid things at stupid places and at stupid times. Don't be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Hey, hi, Stefan. Good to see you. Good to see you, or hear you and see you. I mean, I see the little photograph. It's going well, going well, going well. Just cruising along. Just you see, I got my little puppy here, little Emma, and got my little space. Oh yeah, I'll bet that is. I'll bet that trike is a lot of fun. I bet. There was a guy when I was a kid, he used to ride up and down the street. Just, you know, he had the wheelie bar on the back of his three-wheeler. There's Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy Gunn? That's old school right there. Jimmy Gunn in the house. Yeah, it does, Henry. It does. We have to be smart enough. And with me, it took me a long time just to think I was trying to be smart enough to not engage in activities that were going to put me in the crosshairs. So yeah, you'd really like to be able to tell people or to help the youngsters to avoid that kind of a trap, the prison trap, the law enforcement web, if you will. So, yeah, but when you're young, who are you listening to? You're not really listening to anyone, not really. I mean, you might listen a little bit if you've got some mad respect for that person, but I think that's the big problem, is that we all have to learn for ourselves. And it's just unfortunate that so many lives just get trapped up and in effect taken to another place. Living life in a cage is just no fun at all. But what do you guys think about, I got a couple of my partners, they want me to build a solitary confinement cell. Yeah, when you're young, you just goes in one ear and out the other, right? And punishment really doesn't help. Not like corporal punishment or imprisonment. It doesn't really help anything, I don't think. I mean, it probably helps society to some degree, but I think for these lesser offenses, I think there should be some kind of intervention like early on. But I still don't know if there's any effective way to intervene. Yeah, that's good advice, Jimmy. We should just get, you know what? We should get the advice of a wide spectrum of ex-prisoners and just make like a book out of that and just put it up there, get it out there, just hand it out. Yeah, the peer pressure. Peer pressure is just, I mean, what can you do? You can't shock your brain. They say that the male brain doesn't even fully develop until you're about 25. So what do you do? What do you do? But if any one of you guys wants to start putting together some quotes, but it would be, I mean, maybe if you saw like more than one person or more than a handful of people, because how often when we're young did we really respect our parents or the people that were like closest to us? We really didn't listen to them very much, at least I didn't. So yeah, if there's an overwhelming amount of people, if there's like a couple hundred that are saying, take a different course, Um, she senses somebody. It's our watchdog. And she's a good one, too. Yeah, she's a good watchdog. And she will attack. She will attack. Yep. I saw a guy the other day, tried to pet her. He reached out his hand, and I was looking the other way, and he was just walking by, and he kind of reached out his hand, and she went after that finger. But yeah, you just got to do what you got to do. But I like the idea of trying to figure out a way to get some seed planted in the minds of young people so that they don't. And I really, honestly, myself, I think it all comes down to your personal character. Yeah, now that's a good quote. Those are great. Yeah, Jimmy. There you go. Jimmy Gunn. Jimmy Gunn. Who's better than you? Who's better than you? You know, you've got a well-recognized name in the federal system and probably most other places. Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, when you get tired of making mistakes. But yeah, I mean, that's the 3 levels of intelligence, right? If you can learn from someone else's mistakes, yeah, you're probably in the smaller percentage, but you're ahead of the game. If you have to make a mistake and then you learn from it, you're probably in that second classification. And then if you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, then you're in that third category. So, yeah, I mean, mistakes are part of life. We all goof up. We're just human. We've got all this other stuff going on. Food for thought. Food for thought. Start collecting some of these comments. It's all public. I mean, yeah. Just have like a forum. Put everything down. You know, I'm sure there's some kind of organizations that would say, yeah, we're on board with getting these into the hands of our youth. But yeah, it's just, you know, wasting your life, wasting your youth in prison. To me, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. When I see young guys doing stuff that is going to result in a very long prison sentence. And I mean, I don't see them myself physically, but I hear about them or read about them or see the news or something. I'm like, wow, you know, that's another tragedy. That's another. But yeah, I go back to character, overall character building with at very early ages. I think it needs to happen. Children just, you know, they need to be taught. They need to be not instructed, but they need to have a demonstration that they can respect and follow. The example of nonviolence, or the example of walking away, the example of not taking stuff. Every one of them. That's right, Henry. All these prison channels, I mean, it's all coming from like different angles. And it heartens me. It gives me a good feeling when, you know, I look at them and I see that the guys that have been through that and then made it out. Yeah, I mean, you have something to offer, right? Something to give back, something to say, because, you know, that's really, it's not like, to me anyway, it's not like, oh, if I could just keep one child or one young person out of prison, it'd all be worth it. It's like, okay, you know, let me just share some wisdom let me just share something with you, because right now you're not understanding, you're not perceiving human life or your own life the way it is, the way it really is. You're missing something here, and I want to fill in the blanks. I want to let you put you up on what it is you're missing. You know, the understanding that you're missing. But again, I think it comes down to early character development. I think it comes down to the kind of influences you have. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that life of crime starts early? I know mine did. My brother and I used to go into the corner store, Doyle's Corner Grocery, and my first theft was, I'm wearing a winter coat. And my brother's wearing a winter coat too. So we get in the back where the Hostess pies are, you know, the ding dings and ho-hos and all that. So he says, open your coat a little bit. So I open the coat, and he takes one of those pies and he puts it down my sleeve, and he zips back up my coat. So, and then he did the same with his. So we went ahead and got the bread, the eggs, whatever his mom wanted, and paid for it, and went out. And down at the bottom of the steps, before we even got to the road, we were into those ho-hos and ding-dings. And, so, yeah, I mean, I think it starts fairly early. But if you got people around you that are good influences or make a good demonstration, then I think you might pick up on that a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Henry. I think it's being human is, sometimes it's not a lot of fun. Sometimes it is very difficult. Sometimes it is a lot of fun. Sometimes it isn't difficult. But it usually, in my view, or my experience, it goes up and down like a roller coaster. You have sometimes when you're up, sometimes when you're down, sometimes when you're in between the two, on your way up or down. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You started stealing early, but knew it was wrong. But how do you avoid that behavior if the influences around you encourage that behavior? Because sometimes, some of these kids, if they don't do something, then something will be done to them. And that's just bad news all the way through. But yeah, I mean, I know that all of us that have been through that mill, through that gauntlet, we'd like to reach out and we'd like to do something to help the youngsters avoid going through what we went through. Just because it's the right thing to do. Just because, if you see the flaws in the criminal justice system and you see the abuses, you see, and it's not everybody, of course, it's never everybody, but it's widespread. And the abuse of authority is so widespread, how can you really trust it? How can you trust it? Candy cigarettes. I remember those. The Sparky. Yeah. White with a little red on the tips. Yeah. We used to get those too. Yep. Yeah, I remember that. I would have never remembered it had you not have mentioned it. But yeah, I remember those now. The cigarettes were a big deal. Like my brother used to, he'd steal from my mom, and then one time we went down to this house where we were going down to play with these other kids, and it was like evening time. It was like dark, and this woman's car was parked in the driveway, and you could look up into the second story window and see she was up there talking to the mother. And so my brother's like, keep a watch on that window. Let me know if she leaves, if they stop talking or whatever. And he got in the car and got like $10, $10 bill or something out of her purse. And you know, I was watching him more than I was watching the window. And, you know, you don't feel right about it, but then you go ahead and, oh, the bubble gum, Henry, the bubble gum. I don't remember the powder, though. I don't remember that. I don't remember that specifically. I remember the Pez, the little Pez dispensers. Those have become quite a collector's items, those old ones. But yeah, I mean, you might feel bad about it, you might know it's wrong, but then you go ahead and you enjoy the proceeds. Yeah, did that teach? Hey, Jerry, good to hear from you, Jerry. Oh, bazooka in the baseball card wrappers, right? Oh, the bazooka was a separate gum. It was that like pink bubble gum, right? That big chunk of pink bubble gum. Yeah, wish I had that company. Some of those guys, but you know, the guys that I've run into, a lot of guys that I ran into in prison, they had the ability, they were excellent salesmen. They had, a lot of them had natural inclinations to, yeah, I do, Jerry. Yep. Yeah, I do. Bubblegum cigs. But a lot of guys that are in prison, they have the acumen, the natural ability or qualities to, you know, to create businesses or to make money. I mean, really, it's all about the money, right? We just, I mean, that's kind of, unfortunately, what makes the wheel turn. If you've got money, everything's funny. If you don't, it ain't no joke. If you're broke, it ain't no joke. But yeah, I think just, I'd really rather have peace of mind. I'd really rather have just calm mind, calm disposition. Just, you know, I'd really rather just have peace of mind and contentment rather than happiness or money. Just give me a little bit of peace of mind. Give me a little bit of contentment here and there. I'm good. That other stuff, I was watching a documentary the other night on the Indiana state prison system, and that was messed up. I mean, it was like, you know, some of those shows you're just right there. You're on the spot. I mean, they were right there filming it in real time. And love you too, Jimmy. Much respect, brother. Much respect, Jimmy. They were filming it in real time, and I started feeling like, I was like, you know, when they shut the doors to the cells and the jangling of the keys and all that, and I was like, instantly in my mind, I was like, brought back to that, like, place in time, space and time, the memory of that. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to go back there. That's for sure. So yeah, I think there's good in everyone. I really do. I think there's some kind of good And when I say good, I just mean there's a capability to become a better version of yourself, whether that's being smarter. Uh-oh, I can't take this call right now. I don't know who this is either. I'll have to call back. I forgot to turn my ringer off. Sometimes I leave my ringer off for like weeks at a time. Today I turned it on because I was going to get a call. I thought it would come in earlier. I'll just call back on this one in a little bit. But yeah, I think there's two systems basically of wealth, or of gain, if you will, personal gain. One of those obviously is material, property, money, things. The other one is your wisdom, your knowledge, your base of understanding, your character, if you will. That in itself is it's very valuable. I think it's very valuable to work on ourselves, to become better versions of ourselves, if we can. And we can. Everybody can. Even if it's just an incremental thing, even if it's just a small thing, we could definitely do that. And, that's what I try to work on with myself. I can't really, you can say what you know or go that way and try to teach other people, but yeah, just to be a better human being, just to try to, just to try to work on yourself, see where your thinking errors are, and see what you need to do to be able to come up to speed a little bit so you feel better about yourself. And if you feel better about yourself, you're probably going to feel better about your life. And it may not matter all that much whether you have a lot of material things or just a little, because we can't take it with us anyway, right? So everything that we have is going to go by the wayside. Yeah, I think so, Jimmy. BOP is, step into the BOP now. It's different than when we were there, Jimmy. A lot different, man. You know that. Way different. They've changed everything. They've flipped everything around now. It's a whole different animal. And it's not any fun. That's for sure. But yeah, we're just cruising along, keeping things moving, doing what we have to do, putting one foot in front of the other, taking small steps, having legitimate goals. And my goal, like I say, my goal is just to be at peace with myself, to be the best human being I can be. If I can give something back, I'll give it back. I have no problem with that. If I can do it. I like that, Henry. I like these. I like these comments. Yeah. Jimmy, you need to get busy and assemble these comments, man. Snatch them up and get guys that want to volunteer, want to, have their comments put in the book and published, and, send something backwards, send something to the, because, maybe it is just one kid or something, and he, he looks at it and maybe he's on the fence. And he says, okay, I'm going to listen to reason. I'm going to listen to this wisdom. And, he takes the advice and, doesn't go that way. I know there were points in my life. Were there points in your life when you could have went a different way? When you knew, either looking back or right at that time, when you could have went a different way and not got caught up? Yeah, 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 that's right. Yeah, that's what you call being true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself.
Well, you might have some questions for you, so I might call you back. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that mostly it's just, yeah, there's no doubt, Jimmy. No doubt at all. I mean, I was locked into a certain mindset, and to to be able to get out of that mindset, to be able to escape that mindset, it took a lot. It took a lot to, it had to come down to some serious matters, some real life and death stuff before my eyes began to open. And a lot of times, most times perhaps, we don't see ourselves like other people see us. And we might think that everything is cool, that everything's great, everything's everything, and but it isn't. We're just kind of faking ourselves out. We're lying to ourselves. So I think that's what that expression, be true to yourself, I think that's what that means. It took years, right? It took me. I'm still working on me. I'm still working on me every day. I'm still aware. I'm still trying to do what I need to do to become a better version of myself. Dave, yeah, really does. Gratitude. Gratitude's big. Gratitude's huge. Gratitude is huge. I mean, honestly, it could have been a lot worse for all of us, right? Could have been. Could be a lot worse right now. So, we have to look at that angle, because it's, without realizing all of the reasons we have to be content, we're going to automatically start thinking about the reasons we have to be discontent, right? It's one or the other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, solitary confinement wasn't like a terrible deal all the way around, because that's what I had time to do. I had time to think. I had time to look at myself. I had time to engage in introspection and just think, and try to come to some kind of conclusions and some kind of arrangements. So yeah, it took a long time, but to make that initial breakthrough anyway. But every day is just a matter of pushing forward just a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who. Thank you, Jerry. I don't know who really, I mean, likes to be in prison. There are guys that I don't know if they like it, but yeah, I agree with Sparky. Positive attitude about things. Look on the good side. Look at what you already have, or what, just think of good things. Just have a clear conscience, a good, clear mind, just to be able to experience things the way they really are. that's what throws us off, is this disillusionment. We, we think things are something other than what they really are. We think it's easier than it is, or we think it's better than it is, or what have you. And we go grabbing for it, and it's just a trap. It's just a really it's just a mind trap. Yeah. From what I know, and from the people that have commented on the new Federal Bureau of Prisons, yeah, it's not. The state joints now are better than the feds. Really. I mean, some of them anyway are, you've got more opportunities anyway. The feds are they're stripped bare. It's bare bones now. And it's just dangerous, very dangerous, because you had all those people being sentenced under the SRA and the 1994 Act, and they were just loaded up with time, because that's still the laws is on the books. So they just loaded them down, and they've got, in their minds, they've got nothing to lose. Be in prison for all this time, and I've got nothing to work toward because I'm never going to get out. I might as well just do what I want to do. Yeah, Henry, good point. And if you bite off too much and try to chew it, you might even choke on it. So yeah, probably a little bit at a time. Small bites, chew it good, chew it well, and then move on to the next bite, right? But personal growth and development, just trying to be the best human beings we can be. And, we don't measure ourselves against others. I mean, you do have to have some standards, because if there's no standards, then, how would you even measure? Sentences are way too draconian, far too draconian. If they had some kind of a system that would actually correct the behavior, or at least induce or help to induce somebody, because you can't force people. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? But you can at least lead that horse to water. You can at least, and if that horse is thirsty enough, it's going to drink. It's going to drink. Yeah, these guys that are just going in and out, in and out, in and out. And some people on the street, Jimmy, some people on the street are they're in a prison of their own making. I mean, on the street. I mean, there's all kinds of prisons, right? So it's just a matter of how you look at it, what you do with it, how well situated you are. That's why I think it's good just to get silent every once in a while, just to try to silence your mind, stop thinking for a while. Meditation, I think it's great. It's helped me a great deal, just to be able to find a little bit of quiet space in my own head. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but still, I mean, proud of all you guys. Very proud. Very, very, very proud. Doing the right thing now. Struggling still. Some of us trying to put one foot in front of the other, but doing it. Yeah. Just a little bit of peace of mind, right, Jimmy? A little bit of peace of mind. I mean, I think that's what everyone's searching for, really. I think they're just taking alternate routes of trying to find it. Yeah, very true. Absolutely, Henry. No doubt about it. Thank you, Dave. I'll see you guys later. I'm over my time right now. I'm going to sign out. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I'll see you again soon. We're going to keep putting up crime reports. I'm going to put the blockheads up. Blockhead 3. Let me know what you think about it, though. I'll see you guys later. Take care, you guys. Oh, that one. Yeah, they used to. It's not. Reform isn't